in schools. We're taking it out. We're eradicating it. It's now, there's a little 5-year-old girl. Her school lunch teacher told her not once, but twice to stop being such a deviant and thanking God for her food before she ate it. Tell us about that.
Because it's a bad thing. Praying over your food is bad. And this little girl had to go hide a couple of times, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she had to go hide because she saw the teacher looking at her, and a little girl was caught praying, like you say, several times at a lunch table. And she was told to stop because it wasn't allowed in school. And this is again that far left deciding they know what's better for our kids. They know what's better for us. They're going to tell us how to tell our kids what to pray and how to pray. At 5 years old, come on. How do you do that to a 5-year-old? So it's okay for her to have a Barney. It's okay for her to have, what's the other one? The doll, the little thin doll that we all think looks good. Barbie. That's her.
Barbie? You couldn't come up with Barbie, Joe?
No, I'm saying
forgot your coffee this
they
morning.
can have all these make-believe figures and cuddle them up and hug them up because it makes them feel good. But if they want to pray to God, that's a bad thing. What are we telling our 5-year-olds?
Well,
And what
and
about her First Amendment rights?
It's gone so far that there's this little 8-year-old who was in this progressive daycare, right? And these are the words, Joe. These words. This is what the teacher was quoted saying. I caught Samantha hiding in a corner praying again. Now this is a different child. This is an 8-year-old at a progressive daycare. I warned Samantha and her seed providers. Seed providers. I'm not kidding you. I had to retake on that like 10 times. Seed providers. Those we would call parents, but that's old-fashioned. I warned her and her seed providers numerous times not to bring sorcery into my daycare. I finally had to put my foot down. We're a progressive daycare. I like to think of the individuals that attend here not as children, but as little seeds of sunshine. These little rays of sunlight deal with a lot these days, and they don't need to be bogged down by some God that doesn't exist. That's why it's important to keep invisible man and talking snakes out of their lives and out of my daycare. This really happened in the United States to an 8-year-old child. Do tell.
Right. Where's the outrage though? Here, look at
I'm outraged.
if I refuse to do a website for a gay couple getting married, right? I'd be dragged through federal court over it because I don't have a right to do that. And here's a teacher. Now, all right, in all fairness, this is a private school. I get all of that. The parents should have done their homework. They should have checked this guy out and realized what they were getting involved with. But to sit there and pretty much belittle or berate this little girl, this is how she knows how to pray. This is what she believes to be true. And we're going to try to take this away from them, away from her.
Yeah.
Man, this just isn't right. Now, where's the news? They're not all over this either. I'm one of the few guys that's been reporting on this.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't heard the story, and I, of course, heard it from you. Now, I just had Pamela Geller here on the show, and she covers, of course, a lot of the issues around Islam, and she says there's no such thing as Islamophobia. This is about a political system. She squares it up quite differently than most in the mainstream media, but she does say that, well, and you told me about this story of this girl who, you know, supposedly there's all this phobia, there's all this hate for anybody of a different faith, and even after all the things that have happened at the hands of Islam in our country that she went through the entire list of, this girl, this college student, decided she wanted to go experience Islamophobia, but it didn't go so well. Tell us about that.
Oh no, I think this is great. This is perfect. So here's a forgive me, but here's a lefty going out there and they're going to prove their point, right? So the college student in Ontario, Canada, recently engaged in a social study, and she intended to show just how much, like you say, Islamophobia or Islamic hate is out there. So she puts on a hijab, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. So she puts on a hijab and she goes out there and she meets different people, and she finds that these people are very nice to her. They give her a lot of little extra attention. And even when she's with her friends who aren't dressed the same way, who are dressed more, in contemporarily, if you will, she finds that she gets most of the nice. And she doesn't know how to deal with it. So she goes on to say, and her name is Rouhani, goes on to describe this excess of kindness from others in the community. It threw me for a real loop. But when she finished all this, despite the fact that her experience totally contradicted. Now here's where some people have real problems with the facts. When the facts, come right up in your face, and you look at it and you go, that can't be true. And this is what she did. That can't be true. She used the results and she suggested that people are inherently intolerant of Muslims. So after all that tolerance, after all those nice situations, she still refuses to believe it. I mean, it's got to be in the coffee. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Yes, that's the sort of research we have going on in our universities today, so you can be proud. But also going on in our universities is this marketing department saying we want to become. It's not just the marketing department. This comes from the president, actually, at this Western Washington University, the one you never heard of, who obviously really wanted to be talked about in the media because they've accomplished their goals. We want to be less white. Joe, please explain to me how that isn't racist and intolerant. I am so missing something here.
You know, I'm telling you, I've been saying I'm going to write a book about how the Earth stopped spinning. The Mayans had it right. We stopped spinning, then we started spinning in the opposite direction. Everything doesn't make sense anymore. So here's a university that basically says we have too many white kids on campus. We need more diversity. So instead of saying, I mean, God forbid I said this, but instead of saying, how do we attract more Black Americans, Asian Americans, and what have you? No. How do we get rid of the white people?
Yeah.
How do we get the white folk out of here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I really don't get it. And while all of that is happening, with not a lot of time left, I want to say one of the other big trends on college campuses right now, Sex Week. And even though studies have proven that when you have Sex Week and you have people like Planned Parenthood come parade and whatever it is they do, that pregnancies go up, that STDs go up, and yet these colleges keep having these Sex Weeks as if that's what they're supposed to be teaching. I mean, they don't teach history anymore, so they got to teach something, right?
Do you really? All right, come on, let's be honest about Gina. Do we really need Sex Week at college? Isn't like everyday sex day at college? Okay, I mean, give me a break. So all we're doing is giving them a legal or a faculty supported sex week. But yeah, I can't say some of this stuff. I didn't even say it on my show. But if you're having confusion with your body parts, you want to learn how to more excite yourself or make it a better situation. They're going to teach you this. They're actually going to put a class together to teach you how to pleasure oneself.
Yeah. And that's no kidding. That's literally part of the curriculum.
No, and thank God you have plenty of tax dollars going towards that. Doesn't that make you happy?
That's always good, too. Joe Messina from The Real Side. Tell us, everybody, where we can find you.
Well, just hop up on therealside.com and you'll find out what stations and times. You can pick up my classic podcast. A lot of stuff happening up on the website. Thanks for having me, Gina.
Absolutely. Thanks for being on, Joe. We love you on this show.